Fossil of the day.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, damas y caballeros, and everyone in between. It is with great pleasure that we present to you Friday's Fossil of the Day Award here in Bonn at the COP 23. And the Fossil of the Day Award is a prestigious award presented only to those who are the best at being the worst, to those who do their most to do the least, and to those who are the most successful, tactful, deceitful, and willing to create anything that can block advancement towards a meaningful climate agreement. Can we perhaps practice a collective boo? Very good, very good. You will need that later because today's fossil winner deserves just that kind of reaction. I won't go into it now. But before we start the Fossil of the Day Award, I would like to invite all of you to join us in the singing of the Fossil of the Day anthem, a song that goes back to time immemorial, before many of the people here were born, because that's how long these COPs have been going on. And I would like to invite all of you to join in with me. Maestro? You hear the rhythm? Great, okay. Let's start one more time. Ready? Fossil, fossil. Ready? Warm up. Cool. Okay, ready? This is to build this up. The day, fossil of the day. Who is bad? Who is worse? Fossil of the day, fossil of the day. All the blame, all the shame. Fossil of the day. Now, as we begin this Fossil of the Award ceremony, I would like to thank all of you for joining us here at Fossil of the Day. Remember that there are exits both behind you and in front of you, although from this climate agreement there is no way out. Everyone please fasten your seatbelts. Yeah, come on, fasten your seatbelts. There you go. Okay, buckle in because we're about to go for a ride. And today we want to talk about something, because self-organization is important here, and some groups are taking that role upon themselves, not just to organize, but to create the rules themselves. And to do that, we want to go back to an adage, an age-old adage of, if you give a man a fish, he will eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he will eat for a lifetime. And here you can see, this is a real thing, a giant airplane fish. Alaska Airlines is doing that now. But we want to talk about that because while that worked in the past, you could fish and you eat for a day, learn to fish, whatever. Overfishing is a serious problem, and some people are consuming far too many fish while other people don't have enough fish. It's creating a lot of problems. So what we've been developing is a fantastic fish offset scheme, so that this way we can be accountable for who has a fish and who doesn't. So does anybody here like fishing? Anybody? Yeah? Okay, here we go. This guy. There's a fish. And has anybody here not fished today? Yeah? Okay, yeah? You haven't fished today. So you get a fish offset. So he's a fisherman. He wants to fish. You get a fish offset because you haven't fished today. This all makes sense. This way it balances out and the number of fish go down. Has anybody else not fished today? Oh, fantastic, yeah. So more offsets so that more people are not fishing today. Anybody else? Perhaps anyone else? I know there is a lot of fishing going on at the top. There you go, fantastic. And a few more. Anybody else? No, You haven't fished today? Okay, great. There you go. Good. See, and, this is wonderful. So as you can see, we have this healthy fishing offset scheme, totally functional. And we have all these extra offsets left over, and there's still 2 fish to be compensated by all of these offsets. Isn't it wonderful? So, but as we manage this is quite complex. I've just sort of started giving out these fish to people and now just throwing them in the air as if they were all over and there were unlimited offsets around. But that might not be how the system works. But we don't know because there might not be rules yet. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to today's Fossil of the Day award winner. Can we have a drum roll if you please? Today's Fossil of the Day award goes to ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization. There you go. Someone's been practicing. Cool, you can come up here and now stand on this. There you go. There's your award and the Fossil of the Day. While countries are discussing how to implement the Paris climate deal to avert the worst climate impacts of climate change, the UN aviation body, ICAO, is having their own conversation on climate. The 36 members of ICAO's council have preferred to do it in private, so they can make their own rules on their carbon markets and alternative fuel sustainability criteria without too much fuss. Who wants to complicate the discussions anyway, right? It's already confusing enough. There's fish everywhere now. When it comes to carbon offsets and biofuels, the aviation industry must be deciding it's easier to just accept them all and deal with the environmental and social consequences later. Us folks in the UNFCCC are pretty impressed with the speed at which ICAO is checking off rules for their climate measures. We're going to have to figure out how to adapt when airlines start buying offsets and biofuels from countries with Paris pledges. Parties are counting all of their emissions reductions towards their climate targets. If airliners are claiming the same reductions for themselves, then 2 targets are claiming 1 emissions reduction. It's called double counting. Doesn't that invalidate one of the targets? We haven't come up with any rules for dealing with that here yet. Slow down, ICAO. You're making us look bad. It's really too bad we can't see what's going on in the ICAO's climate discussions right now. We heard they end on the same day as the COP. I'm sure there are plenty of issues that relate to what we're working on here. Markets, accounting, land use, and food security discussions. This fossil is for the 36 ICAO Council countries that won't show us their homework on the offsets and biofuels they plan to use. Perhaps they're worried they might get a failing grade. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a boo for the ICAO?
Thanks a lot.
That is right. Thank you very much. We are here every day at 6 p.m. for the Fossil of the Day Award to present the award to who's the best at being the worst. But before we close, I would like to all, now that you've practiced, join us in singing the Fossil of the Day Award song just one more time today. Fossil of the day, who is bad, who is worse? Fossil of the day, fossil of the day, all the blame, all the shame, fossil of the day. Thank you very much, we will see you tomorrow. Today's Fossil of the Day award here in Bonn at the COP23 UNFCCC conference goes to the ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization, who at the exact same time as this conference here in Bonn on climate is having their own conference in Montreal, where the 36 nation states representing this group are making their own decisions about how aviation emissions should be counted. And this creates a major problem because all of these countries have signed on to the Paris Agreement, which means that if the aviation industry is counting these emissions as for their own offsets, these countries are also counting those same emissions for their own national pledges towards a climate agreement, which means we're double counting some of the emissions, which is half as much climate work as should be happening. That's it. We'll see you tomorrow at Fossil of the Day here in Bonn.
Fossil of the day, who is bad, who is worse? Fossil of the day, fossil of the day, all the blame, all the shame, fossil of the